Where this particular center is in university campus only, sir? Sagar sir, this SIBA.
Yes. So every incubator has its own host institute.
Okay.
In most of the government catalyzed incubators are positioned that way. So SIBA's host institute is FCRIT. There is Father Agnes Institute of Technology.
At
Father C.
Vashi.
Rodrigues, yeah, Father C. Rodrigues Institute of Technology. It's in Vashi, Navi Mumbai.
Okay. 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 So all the activities channelized through that particular cell or location.
Yes. So this is a 17,000 square feet center. It's an entire floor. If we have time towards the end, I'll show a 3-minute video also,
Okay.
wherein you know, all the early stage startups, they actually come in here. Workshops are planned for them.
Oh,
Then we do a lot of one-on-one conversations, which I'm sure going to cover in the presentation today.
okay. And if you plan, sir, a kind of a visit for our IIC students for that
Yeah,
particular center,
absolutely.
that
Yeah,
would be
yeah, we'll welcome all the students. We can get in touch after the session. Maybe in the first month of this year, January. If there is no Omicron, then more than welcome to come over
yes,
here.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, all right, sir. Yes, Kripa, I think without any delay, we can start now. It's already 4:03.
Yes, sir, we'll be starting then.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Should I start?
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening to one and all present here. I, Himani Shah, student head of IIC, welcome you all to the session on achieving problem solution fit and product fit by Mr. Sagar sir. Before we gear up for the event, I would like to introduce the motto of IIC. Institute Innovation Council, that is IIC, is an initiative started by Government of India which organizes the event and seminars that are related to startup, innovation, entrepreneurship and intellectual property rights. The main aim of this committee is to systematically foster the culture of innovation and build a startup ecosystem. In today's event, we are going to discuss the importance of problem solution fit and market fit and how it plays a major role in an entrepreneurial process. Now, I would like to invite our principal ma'am, Dr. Manira Momin, to enlighten us with a few words. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, Krupa. Thank you very much. I was listening to you from the second year. So God has given us 2 years, one to work and another to listen. So we can listen to two things. I'm sorry, while you were talking, I was on another call, but I heard what you said. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Sandeep sir, and the entire IIC team. I see that student IIC team as well as the teacher guiding them is quite exuberant, I must say, and a lot of activities are being conducted under IIC and very, very relevant. And I realize and I feel that uh, in 1 or 2 years, I think in this 2022, that entire atmosphere of innovation and entrepreneurship is going to be very, very visible at BNCP, and the current batch of third year, final year, I'm sure their mindset or their thinking process must be going towards the innovation and towards the entrepreneurship. And that's what at BNCP we are looking at. The effect of today's effort is going to be visible tomorrow, and I look forward to see those changes. And under IIC, I see that the committee is identifying very, very relevant speakers, and I'm sure all the speakers, those who have invited earlier, the experts we have invited earlier, and today's and the future speakers, they all are going to help us bring those blocks close to each other and create an image and an atmosphere at BNCP. The today's session, which is planned, is a session on achieving problem solution. This is a very much important segment. We, as a newbie, when we have a lot of ideas, but then those ideas fizzle out when we encounter some problem. We need to understand the problem, analyze it, come out with the solution, and that too with a holistic approach. So whenever you have any problem, you look at the problem with a 360-degree, and you look at the sustainability, marketability, the product, the future, lot of other aspects. When you bring them together and you have developed that analytical mind to come to the problem solution, is extremely important. And before we join, before some of you join, I was talking to Sagar. Sagar, I hope it is okay if I call you with your first name. So I was
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah.
so I was talking to Sagar, and I was just saying that I'm sure today's his speech is the student group is tomorrow's Sagar. So it's very important that you understand the atmosphere and the thought process of any startup engagement, the problems which you encounter in every business, every startup, and every innovation and entrepreneurship has a teething problem, the initial problem, and those help you develop your analytical mind. Those help you understand your own ideas much better and in depth. And I'm sure today's speech, and I would say not a speech, but it would be a discussion. So today's discussion will definitely stimulate all of you further in your journey of thinking towards innovation and thinking towards entrepreneurship. And I must say that Sandeep sir took an opportunity to request Sagar if our students can visit the incubation center which he is heading, and he is gracious enough to say yes. So let's see, looking at the Omicron and the COVID, or whatever we call it, which is a kind of a challenge in a century which our youth are facing today. And this COVID itself also, this pandemic itself also has made our student a special generation. They have started thinking in the different innovative ways to find a solution, to connect with their friends, to connect with the teacher, to connect with the society. And at BNCP, I must say, Sagar, that students, even during COVID, they have actually connected with the society. They have done wonderful activities online. It never felt like students' zeal and enthusiasm and their ideas to conduct various health awareness camp or a societal issues, awareness of those societal issues. The pandemic did not deter them, and they have done an excellent job. And I think that's also one streak of innovation. That is a thinking innovation. And I'm sure today's session would further help them structure that thought process towards problem solution, how to find the solution, problem solution fit, and the product market fit mind setup to think in that direction. So once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate Sagar for coming over and addressing our students. And the current youth is, as I said, they have plenty of plethora of opportunities. At the same time, they have a lot of ideas, plenty of ideas and energy. They are very creative as compared to my generation. I will put it that way. Sandeep will say that, no, no, madam, my batch was also enough innovative. I would put my generation. So I think this generation is quite smart, lot of energy, lot of creativity, innovative thinking. It's in the beginning stage. And I think this kind of session would definitely help them. So once again, thank you very much, not taking much of your time. And once again, thank you to Sagar, and thank you to my entire IIC for arranging such a wonderful events. Slow but steady progress. I really like it. Thank you very much. Back to you, Krupa.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for setting the tone for this event for the next, I guess, 1.5 years. And I'm sure that your words might have planted seeds, like the seeds of doubts, or even if they have any queries, I'm sure they'll be putting up throughout the session. So thank you, ma'am, for your precious words of wisdom. Sir, it gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome on behalf of IIC BNC. Thank you, sir, for being a part of this event despite your busy schedule. So now let us kickstart this event by introducing our esteemed and honored guest and speaker for the day, Mr. Sagar Chandni sir. Mr. Sagar has more than 9 years of combined work experience and as an entrepreneur, startup consultant, and an early stage startup enabler. Currently, Sir is heading incubation and startup engagement at the Center for Incubation and Business Acceleration, Mumbai. CIBA, which is a technology business incubator catalyzed by the Department of Science and Technology under the Government of India. Sagar Sir is also a mentor at Startup India and is on a mission to empower 10 lakh entrepreneurs in the next 10 years. So, without wasting any time, let us begin. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. The management team and wonderful, I would rather use the word friends out here to come here and be part of this session. This is not like a classroom session. So for the next 45 minutes or 50 minutes or so, let's wear a hat as in which two friends are interacting. I'm actually sipping my tea. So if you're having some water or something with you can do that, because such today's workshop or today's session is more to do with perspective setting. So I would also request everyone to to be more alert, be more interactive, and ask as much as questions you can. See, we all are busy in our day-to-day activities. We all have our assignments, submissions, exams. Then we have to do certain work apart from our studies. So we all are occupied. And the good part about media and information exchange is that there is a range of information that we can derive or we can gain. But then we have to be smart enough to choose what is relevant for us, for our own development, right? So in that context, or let me share my screen, and let's dive into today's topic and gain certain perspectives. Just a minute. Okay. So, the topic is very unique. Thanks to the team who's planned this to actually fine tune and to gain perspective on this particular aspect of how to develop or build our say minimum viable product market fit, problem solution fit, because this is very important if you are someone who is in the idea stage, or for that matter who is not even having any idea but wanting to gain. Okay, if I am planning to build my own startup, where should I start? How should I start approaching a particular problem? How should I start approaching a particular solution, right? So before we dive into the main topic, let's quickly make it clear. There would be a lot of questions around what are the what are the reasons why startups are successful. We hear a lot of stories about unicorns being formed. We hear a lot of information around a particular startup who has received funding. Obviously, all of us would have question around, if I want to do something of my own, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्यूशन फिट तो पता चल जाएगा, मैंने ये मतलब कहीं ना कहीं I will gain certain tools to learn on how I can solve this, but ultimately there are certain questions which everyone has is how should I begin? So everyone thinks money is one of the biggest say factor of success. It definitely is, but certainly not the topmost factor or topmost reason. So before we dive into the topic, let's try and get this correct in the beginning itself, that the top 5 reasons why any startup on this planet are successful are these. Okay, so the source here is Mr. Bill Gross. He is founder investor and been part of more than 200 companies. Okay, now definitely funding is there, but it's in the 5th position in the top 5 reasons. Okay, now what happened during the pandemic? right? There were so many problems that obviously all of us faced, right? Say for example, all the sessions were are still happening online, right? In that case, be it the Microsoft Teams or the Zooms or the Google Meets of the world, right? For them, this was their time. So as a product or a service, it was their time, and that is the reason why they have also grown in the last 2 years, right? If you take whichever business, industry, startup, fantastic example is in your own domain, organizations such as 1mg.com, PharmEasy, and NetMads have grown, two folds, multiple folds in that context in the last 2 years, right? They were there before, or they were telemedicines have picked up, right? So for them, pandemic was from a business point of view, for them it was their timing, right? So remember one thing, whatever idea, whatever thought process you have right now, we have to be alert and we have to be mindful of whatever I am planning to do, whatever problem I am trying to solve, whether whether it is in the current times, that is very critical. Then comes the team. See, at this stage, at this stage, while you are having your own idea, right? I'm sure you would be needing your professors, teachers, peer group to discuss and give you feedback, right? So at this stage, they are also playing role of a team member. Even your parents, brothers and sisters, who would be sharing, if you want to build something. So this is the time to gain perspective, but this is also the time to find someone who is equally passionate about the problem that you're trying to solve. Even that is a challenge. It is difficult to find someone or some, be it in your social circle or otherwise, to get hooked onto the idea that you are wanting to build. But this is the time, and that itself is one of the biggest reason uh, to make a startup successful, right? See, remember one thing, as a startup founder or as a student, often, and see, there's no harm in accepting certain hard facts, right? And one of the hard fact is that in India and many other countries, from our childhood, we have taught to, to work independently, right? Which is fair, which is fine. The obviously the job market or the way socio-economic structure is structured, so socio-economic structure is there, most of us tend to be more independent. But then from a startup point of view, or even if you go out after your studies, you go out for job, you are required to be a team player, right? And as a startup founder, it is even more important than, because you will be working someone, you will be working to build your product or service. You'll be working with multiple stakeholders, you will be developing your business. So the core team, the 2-3 people who would be with the startup for 2-3 years, will actually determine the success of the startup, right? Even that is important. Then comes the idea, then comes the actual idea that you are planning to implement. See, we all are, when we hear a lot of different perspectives, everyone wants to be unique. Everyone wants to develop a different idea, a creative idea. Great, right? Which is great, having that thought process is great. But remember one thing, you know the problems that organizations like NetMats, PharmEasy, Zomato, Swiggy, Ola, Uber, Book My Show, just giving an example. Okay, the problems that they are solving are not rocket science problems, but the way they are solving is unique. Okay, so we have an option. The option is, are we do we want to be a stage where we would be so making a complex or a simple problem complex, or complex problem simpler, right? This is something which we have to determine at this stage. There are so many problems that still exist in multiple industries, and you have to choose the industry that you are passionate about or you really believe in, right? That is also important. Then the business model. Now business model means how different stakeholders would be involved, whether say a Netflix, for Netflix and Amazon Prime, the business model is possibly a subscription based model, right? Wherein you watch the content, you pay a subscription fees. Then how the money will come into the system, and then funding. Obviously funding is like a fuel to your business, which is important. But then, just to save your time, energy, efforts, give you a realistic perspective. Okay, once the session is done, once the new year party is over, if I am thinking about building a company, creating a problem, product market fit, solving, developing a problem solution fit, then okay, let me be very clear that these are the areas where I have to focus, and the areas where I have to focus the most, right? So one question that I would want you to ask yourself, after the session or in this weekend, is that can we focus on building our 60% of product and services during these times? Can we focus on brainstorming our ideas, trying to get in touch with people who may and who are willing to solve a similar problem that you are trying to solve? Is something that we have to focus right now. Still, because I'm in mark timing right now, because still we are recovering from a pandemic. So that is also important. Definitely there will be certain problems that you may want to solve are relevant to these times as well. No harm in it. But as a student, since you may have one more academic year, you may have still some time to to articulate and actually start practicing your idea. For the next few months, would you take that effort to build at least these two? Is something that I would highly encourage everyone out here. This is how you can think and you can build in a perspective for yourself. So far, does anyone have any question, anything you would want to ask? Feel free to unmute. If there is any question you want to put it on the chat box, feel free to do that.
Yes, dear students, you can drop question in a chat box, or in between also you can ask. So that is in your hand. Better way, put in chat box, and towards the end, sir, we will pick up the questions. So that
sure,
will be
sure. No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
And all my request to all the students and friends, as I say, is that don't hesitate to ask any question. We are discussing entrepreneurship. We are discussing, how you want to build your product or a solution. So this is a session, where we'll be discussing certain practical realities. So just go ahead and ask any question you want to ask. Yeah, go ahead. Like, don't shy away. This is your time. Okay. So what more we can do in these times, right? What more we can do, right? See, it is very easy to get inspired or get get carried away the other extreme by listening to other startup founders, reading about them, which is great. There is a getting inspired is great, but more than that, it is important to get your why sorted on why you would want to build a particular problem or solution. Yes, we are going to discuss certain tools, but what I am referring here is that, say, today, for example, I am passionate about solving for entrepreneurs. I'm just giving an example, right? I empathize with the pain of a startup founder. Maybe that is the reason why I chose to be in a path and be part of an organization that helps entrepreneurs, right? Similarly, you have to get your why sorted, that I really believe that this is a very big economic problem, or this is a very big business problem, commercial problem, or this is a very big social problem. And then you have to you have to then plan your startup accordingly. And it's okay even if it's a commercial problem, which means that there is a existing business line that you are following or you are exposed to. Maybe your friends and family are involved in that business line and you are also interested in that. Okay, there is no harm in building your purpose there as well. It's completely fine. Okay, but you have to get your why sorted, because see, business is not a 1 year game or a 2 year game, right? It took you 15 years of formal education to, or at least 10th and 12th standard, to kind of gain the education or higher education that you're gaining right now, right? Through your program. So business like that is not a 1 year game or a 2 year. It goes for 10, 15, 20 years and decades, right? And I wish that I can hope and I know that in the coming times India is going to produce fantastic entrepreneurs, and a lot of them are sitting here right now on this call. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you have to think long term, and if your why is sorted, it will help you keep you motivated for long term, because it is very easy, right? For example, if someone here wants to lose weight, they go to gym, they pay the fees, they go to gym, and then there are few of us who continue, but after a month we do not go, right? Not because they are not motivated or there is some issue with them. No, not at all. Maybe someone who has lost a good amount of weight knew his purpose, that what, I'm not going to miss my gym till the time I lose, say, 15 kgs of weight. Correct? So getting that why sorted, because there will be times where you may experience failure. There will be times where things will not go the way you want. Now, for example, imagine the situation of a person. The first lockdown was announced in the month of March, right? Now imagine there is, and I'm not asking you to imagine something hypothetical. This has happened, right? In fact, one of my friend, he started his restaurant in the month of February. He invested more than 50 lakhs in the month of February 2020, right? And March, the pandemic hit. Now imagine, he never thought that things would, in his case, the product was good, the branding was good, the food was good. He had invested a huge money to got a good location, but things did not went in the way he expected to go, right? But then still he leveraged Zomato, Swiggy, other forums, and in a way survived. And there are many examples in which a lot of business also got closed, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is, the friend I'm referring to, he had an option to kind of just be sad or just do nothing about the situation, or build a solution towards it, or try to see what are the other ways he can deliver foods and get in touch with various various customers, be it online. My point here being is that your why and the impact that you want to create will always keep you motivated in the tough times as well. Because no one of us is prepared for failure, right? Because failure is something that comes uh, comes at a time when we are we are happiest, right? So I'm not here to give any psychological or a spiritual gyan, but my point here is that every action that you will take from here can lead to tangible benefit that you are looking for. So these are the key things that you have to sort it. And let me be again very honest, not all of us are going to become entrepreneurs, right? But again, if you get your why and impact sorted, then you may choose the right startup that you would be working with, or right organization that you would be wanting to be part of. So these things are anyway going to impact positively in your professional life as well as your personal life. So keep this very importantly, keep this as one of the top things that you should be doing, right? Then let's read more about the startups that are being funded in the last 1-2 years and why they are funded, right? Everyone definitely, we did discuss about the funding part, but we should know, and we should keep our self aware on why an investor has put money in a startup, right? Not because of the brand name, or not because of they like the founder's face. It never doesn't work like that, right? There is a proper hypothesis on what is that they have achieved in the last maybe 1-2 years. What are their plans? Then there is there's a range of information available. So we have to read all that information, because that will make us more practical in our approach. Even if you are growing, even if you are introduced to certain investors, then you will be practically aware, okay, these are the certain things I need to do. Then second and most important point is network horizontally and vertically. Now what does that mean is that vertically there are 50, 60, 100 people at this in your same division, in your same year, but there are alumni as well from your college. They might be having their own startup or are working with a startup, right? You should be active on LinkedIn, and you should be networking vertically with people around you, because all, as initially even principal ma'am mentioned, right? You all are future of India. That means a CEO, CMO, or a leader is sitting here. So after 5 years, if you are if you are in a particular stage in your startup, and there is someone who is working in a different company and can actually give you business, you'll be just a call away. It is important to have a discussion around what are your professional aspirations within the group, within the team. It is very important. It is very important to even guide each other on their professional aspirations. The reason why I'm sharing this, you just take the names of all the funded startups, or all the startups that have become unicorn. The founders definitely had a strong network. If you deep dive into this, you will understand the importance. And network horizontally, it means that, see, not everyone would have their own sector wise aspiration to build their startup, right? Then through LinkedIn or through other online networking events or different platforms where a lot of workshops are being planned, you should get in touch with people, people and opinion leaders from that field, so that you are getting more, you get more information, and you get to understand how things work there. Right? That is important. You have to choose your battles wisely. That is very important. Now, as I shared in the beginning of the presentation, there is so much of information available, but we have to choose the right information and choose the right path, or choose a particular problem that we need to solve, right? What happens is, once we start ideating, we feel that there are multiple problems. And see, there is nothing wrong, by the way, in thinking that all the problems that I need to solve are equally important. Yes, it may be, it could be, but we have to be wise enough to prioritize the problems that we want to solve. That is very important. We have to prioritize that. That is where we have to choose our battles wisely, in terms of choosing. If say you want to start up a online, say, grocery store, I'm just giving an example, right? Then there would be many problems that needs to be addressed, right? But at least be sure about, okay, this is what I want to do, and give that enough time. You can't if you have started something, then you have to give at least 1, 2, 3 months to kind of get to the core problem that you're trying to solve. So that's where we have to be focused. And the most important aspect is that focus on who you are and what are your strengths. And I'll tell you why this is important, right? Gone are the days, and this is what I personally believe, right? Gone are the days where we have to focus on our weaknesses. Okay, yes, I'm not saying we don't have to completely shy away from our weaknesses, but if you focus on understanding your own strengths better. In that way, you will be able to add more value to whatever project or whatever tasks you would be doing in your implementing in your startup. Now, let me give you this with an example, right? See, anyways, you would be working, you would be be it you take the corporate route, or you work with a startup or plan a startup, you will always be working within a team, right? Now, if someone is good at writing emails, or someone is good at communicating, then that person will be taking care of the business development. Then there will be someone who would be really good at managing, say, finances, managing research. Okay, then that person can take care of the operations, right? Now, if you know your own strengths better, you will automatically take care of that responsibility and get someone who can complement that strength. So it is very important to identify. You still are a student, you have you have good time to identify that, but then once you know your strengths, you should discuss with your friends, family, your well-wishers. Just ask them what they have seen in the last few years, whatever, be it soft skill or any other skill that they have observed that you're really good at, and make note of it. Okay, I would also highly recommend that there is actually a test called as Strength Finder 2.0, right? It's designed by Sir Don Clifton. Okay, and I'll also put it in the chat box after at the end of this presentation, that that you do it's a 30-minute test. The book is available on Amazon and Flipkart. Okay, it actually gives you your top 5 strengths, and there are many such tests available, but this is really one of the best and the finest tests I have come across. It has actually helped me also plan my professional journey. In fact, in certain countries, this test is compulsory, for corporates when they hire people. But again, for us, a startup is also a company, right? So you must also know your own strengths. That is really going to help you. Now, we have a template which is going to help you. But just to give you a perspective and summarize, these are the sectors that actually have picked up in the last two years. Technology, there's a dependency that has been, we are too much dependent on technology. Pharma, FMCG, groceries, online groceries have built up. Insurance, it's in the peak of its it's in its peak. And definitely healthcare. So if your business idea is around this and you are actually working on it, that means you are you're solving for a bigger problem. But again, this is not the pandemic is not going to be there for next 10-15 years. It is on its stage. It will come and go. But the point is, and I'm sharing this not because that you have to just focus on these 5 sectors. I'm just giving you a perspective that, okay, these sectors have picked up, and there would be other sectors also. There are a lot of D2C, direct to home companies that have picked up, that are retailing their products and services directly at your home, that have also picked up. So you have to keep that track. Okay, I'm just sharing this to maybe for you to over this weekend read about these sectors and see what is happening. Certain companies, these are just 3 names, but there are many. Okay, now most important question, okay, on how to start working towards the idea, or how to design our problem solution fit. Okay, this is something that is very important. Okay, now at this stage, while we are ideating, there are a lot of questions that we have, right? There would be thousands and thousands of questions, right? And it is very important at this stage for all of us to articulate it well, not for investors, not for your potential customers, but for ourselves, but for your own self. That is important. So, and this will always be an ongoing exercise. Okay, this is not one time. If you write these answers, it is solved. No, you may have to do this twice or thrice to actually get it correct. Okay, now the first question you have to ask is, what pain point are you trying to solve? Okay, now who are you trying to solve it for? Who are you solving it for? How are you trying to solve it? Is anyone else doing it? Can you do it differently from them? And can I charge my customers, and how much? Right? So now let's take this with an example. Okay, now all of us are also aware about Practo, right? Now Practo is an app where we can book doctor appointments, right? So if Practo is writing and trying to, now they are much more structured, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that from the first go we have to write and you have to get it correct. No, because you will write it, then you will be doing a market research, and then you will come back again and you will fill this. But just to give you a perspective, right, from a Practo's angle, for them it is very simple. They can find doctors near our geographic location, and we can then, so the basic pain point they are trying to solve is to find doctors near us, right? Then how are we trying to solve it? Could be online video consultation, in clinic appointments. That is later, but the main basic reason why the app itself exists is they're connecting patients and doctors. Okay, then who are they solving it for? Patients, like who are looking for there are so many different fields in which patients need consultation. So all kinds of needs that are there on Practo, right? That's the second part. Now how are they trying to solve it? Now Practo is using technology, like they are using their online app and their website. So they are completely dependent, or they're designed in a way that they use technology, right? But maybe you are building a company or a startup which doesn't require an app or a website, right? It can be a physical store where it could be a food business, right? So for you the answer will be different. Okay, but if you are building something, then you are using these tools, right? Then in anyone else doing it, yes, it is 1mg is also providing online consultation. PharmEasy is also providing. I'm not sure about PharmEasy, but 1mg is definitely providing it, right? So likewise, there are different. Apollo Health is providing it, right? So likewise, there are different competitors. We have to list it down, right? Then can you do it differently from them? So something that makes Practo different from Apollo or 1mg, right? It could be their network of doctors. It could be a hold in a particular geography, right? So for you, how you would be different from them? That is something that you have to write down. And being different doesn't mean that you have to be you have to be like something that doesn't exist. It should not be like that. It should be something which should be relevant to your customers, because ultimately they are the one who are going to pay you. We are, whatever business we are going to do, whatever problem we are trying to solve is for them. So everything has to come from their perspective. Very critical. And then what is the price point that you would be charging, and how much, right? So the reason why I'm sharing this particular template is that at this stage, while you're designing your problem solution fit, product market fit, I want every one of us not to be cluttered with other questions. At least let's solve for these 6 questions first, and let's repeat it at least twice or thrice till the time I'm sure, all of us here understand, transactions. All of us have gone for shopping. We are all our customers, right? So it is good for some time you wear a customer's hat and then see whether this solution, would you yourself buy it. Now, this is something that we all have to also do while we address these 6 questions. Okay. So with regard to this particular template, if any one of you have any questions, put it on the chat box. I'll be more than happy to take it up. Ask as many as questions, don't worry, and we'll address all of those. Okay. Okay. Now, let's also focus on the lean canvas model. Okay, this is also very important at an ideation stage. See, all the templates and tools are in a way solving for a lot of thoughts that we have in our mind, right? So just to make it simple, digestible for all of us, we take help of this lean canvas model, or we also call it business model canvas, right? So a copy of this is available online. You can download it from Google, take a printout, take 2 or 3 printouts, write it down for the first time, and then discuss it with your friends, professors, well-wishers, and then again draft it after a week. And I'm sure slowly you will be aligning, and you'll be at a phase where you'll be actually be able to design a product market fit for yourself. Okay. So first we will take a look at the model itself, and then we will discuss it with examples. I think this will really be of value to you. So the first thing is you have to list down your target customers. That is important. Then list of problems that you're trying to solve. What is your unique value proposition? Then what is the solution to each problem that you're creating? Then revenue streams, cost structures. What is the unfair advantage of something that, that is very important, something that can't easily be copied according to you, or that is something that makes it very different. So let's discuss with an example. I think that will make it really easy for you. Okay, let's discuss this with an example of Uber, right? So for Uber, you and me are one of their customer segments, right? People in need of transportation, right? And for them, even the drivers who are the car owners, because without them, it is difficult, right? So for them, even they are the customer segments. And Uber will not want their drivers to go to Ola or any other platform, right? So for them, you and me and car owners become key and important customer and key stakeholders, right? Then what are the key what are the value propositions that they are building it, right? For them the value proposition is reliable transport, convenience. For us, right, we want our family members to, if we want our family members to track where we are going, what time we are going to reach to a particular destination, what is the fare that we know in advance, the amount that we are going to pay, even the method of payment, we can pay it through Google Pay, credit card, whatever, right? That is convenience. And then it also for car owners, it is not only income, but for them it is also an additional income. If they would want to give their car, they want to drive it for 8 hours, but they would want to give their car to some other driver for 8 hours, right? For them it also becomes as an additional income. So they want to position themselves in this particular context, right? And then for them, the key resources, tech platform. For them, the tech platform, that becomes a very important infrastructure, right? That itself is very, very, very critical, right? Then network of drivers, very important. So if there are no drivers, then they are not able to serve us. This becomes a problem for them, right? Then their brand image. And for them, the cost structure also is tech platform, because that's where they have or they have all the big companies, all the companies that are completely tech based, or completely where we are booking, say for example Zomato, Swiggy, even Netmatch or Practo. For them the biggest cost structure is their platform, right? So we have to articulate it for ourselves. Then marketing and people who are going to be part of, you will say in the beginning even, or as they grow, right? So that becomes a cost structure. Then the revenue stream, right? For them it's very clear percentage of uh, per drop that Uber does. So that's their revenue stream, right? And for them always the key partner would be an InstaMojo or a Razorpay or a PayPal, because they are their key partners and API providers, right? They have become their very, very important partners, so they can't let go of them. So similarly, in whatever business idea you have right now, right, just articulate who are your customers, what is the value proposition that you will be building, key resources, cost structure, revenue structure, so that it becomes easy for you to always refer that and kind of build on it, and I'm sure you will be surprised. You do it once and you do whatever research that you will be doing for 2 weeks, and then when you fill it again, I'm sure it is really going to make it much more sharper for you. Let's also discuss one more example, say YouTube, right? For YouTube, the customer segments are again all kinds of all viewers from all age groups, right? All age groups. Then it's also for them, content creators are also very important customer segment, right? All the famous YouTubers that we know, uh, Prajakta Kohli or BBK Vines or any other that you follow, they are also important customer segments for them, right? Then the advertisers, obviously they want people to put money on YouTube. Then the advertisers, the advertising agencies, the big media houses, so for them this becomes very important aspect. That's how they would see this. And for them again, their cost structure is data center, right? Obviously there's so much of data, there's so much of videos available for them, that infrastructure becomes an important cost. Maintenance and development and team. Okay. Revenue stream, obviously paid ads, freemium to gain customers, so that becomes their revenue stream. And for them, what is the biggest value? We can, we are not dependent on television anymore to watch the content on a specific time. It's on demand content. That's why they became really huge today, with the likes of Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. Obviously all of them have come, but the reason why YouTube is YouTube today is because on demand content. That's the biggest value differentiation that they bought in. And then it gives us, in fact it gives us, if you and me want to start up a YouTube channel, if we're able to get a good number of views, we can also make money. And target audience from different age groups is their value proposition, right? For them, Google AdSense is a key partner, because they have to go back and track in the console that which advertiser has put in how much money, which video is getting more number of views, like that. So we are just discussing this in bit more detail to give you a perspective that it is great to get inspired and great to learn from them, but for you, you have to write down your own customer segment, value proposition, key activities, and other important aspects mentioned in this canvas, right? And if you have any questions, put it on the chat box. We will discuss it post the session. Yeah. So a very, very, very common questions that come to us is how to identify first customers and where it actually begins, right? So see, ultimately there are, you'll get support from industry experts, mentors, your well wishers and support system on whether whatever idea you're building, whether it is appropriate or not, whether it is going to serve customers or not. See, it is good to gain perspectives from everyone, okay, but it is even more important to actually try it out. Actually try it out with your potential customers. That is very important. That data has its own importance. See, whatever we want to implement, whatever we want to build, unless and until we test it, it is not going to give you a realistic perspective on the acceptance of your product or service. So that is very important. So now let's discuss more on how to build your first MVP. Okay, so we first looked at the 6 questions that we need to address, the 6 questions that we need to address to articulate our thoughts better. Then we create our business model canvas where we write down simply the details of what are your potential cost, potential business partners, your value proposition, your cost center, revenue center. Once you do that, I'm sure you will be closer to the solution that you are wanting to build. Right now, remember one thing, once you ideate and build something, you have to take that product or service to the customer segment you feel like can be a potential target audience. Okay, now let's discuss this also with an example. Okay, a lot of people in our group or in our friend circle make homemade chocolates, right? Make homemade chocolates, correct? Now homemade chocolates, pastries or otherwise, right? So there are many instances we go back and ask them to, we give them suggestions कि आपकी चॉकलेट में शायद शुगर कम था, या फिर इसमें मिल्क कंटेंट ज्यादा हो सकता है, या डार्क चॉकलेट आप ज्यादा ऐड कर सकते हो. I'm just giving an example, right? Now what that particular home baker does, it listens to your feedback, right? And then they go back and then they understand, okay, these are the things that maybe palates are looking for such particular taste, and then you learn from it and then you again go back, right? And simple example, हम भी घर में हम खुद खाना बनाते हैं या हमारे पेरेंट्स खाना बनाते हैं या जो भी है, we go back, if something is not made right, we kind of keep that into our notice and then we try to make it in a way that we expect it to be delivered, right? So on keep that only in mind, and whatever solution you are building, don't judge the customer, don't opinion your customer. They are the ones who are looking for a solution. Then let's focus on building the solution in which they want to digest or they would love to have that product or service, right? And that is a constant process till the time at least till the time someone is ready to pay for your product and service. So we have to keep this also in our mind, right? Now let's understand what a minimum viable product is, right? Now, if you see this diagram, right, there is this skates, a scooter, cycle, car, right? Now, all of these are at least capable to take us from point A to point B, isn't it? Whether it is practical to wear skates and go to Chennai, maybe no. Maybe we'll take up a car, right? But does the skates and the scooty are capable enough? Maybe yes, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is a lot of startup founders that I have observed they feel that their features are their product, right? A feature can never be a product. A minimum viable product is at least they should be delivering the core solution that we have designed, right? For example, right? A lot of us would have booked air tickets via Make My Trip, or I booked railway tickets through IRCTC platform, right? So for IRCTC, the core is that it should be able to digitally get me a ticket. That is the main thing that IRCTC is into its existence, right? Whether will I get an option to choose my seat, whether will I get option to see the probability of confirmation of my ticket, that are features. But the core MVP is that I go to IRCTC, it should give me, if the tickets are available, it should show me the number of tickets available and it should book a ticket for me. Same applies for Make My Trip, correct? So we have to be very mindful at this stage that we do not confuse features with MVP. And if you see in the above diagram, in the first four are not capable to take you to anything. They all are features, right? It's a good tire, a good glass, but they are not, it's just features. So let's be very clear that whatever solution we are building, first thing it's what's the core. A mobile phone. All of us use mobile phone. The core of mobile phone, obviously, with the usage of smartphone, it has evolved. But the core is at least it should be able to help me communicate via call from point A to point B, right? Then I can play games on my cell phone. I can browse. I can download apps from Play Store. Fantastic. But that's the core. That is something that we have to keep in mind, and this is something which we have to be very critical at the time when you're designing your solution, right? And see, solution will always be simple. It is always the way you are building it, or how better you are able to scale it, that is something that needs to be always worked upon, right? So yeah, that's very important. Okay, so at this stage, what more we can do? Okay, what more we can do is we can, you can install Your Story app, INC42, InShots, read about different startups in creating economic, social impact on different, not only in India but abroad. Okay, create your own good LinkedIn page. Uh, Connect with people, connect with startup founders, or follow the organizations that you believe in, right? Try to know more about them, what are they building, and if you are also interested in building something similar, then derive inspiration from that. Create a simple web page for yourself. This is for your own learning. Create a simple web page, write about what you believe in, what you stand for. It's actually going to help you, right? Then there are several networking communities such as Push Start, Techstars, Seed Stars. So you can just read about them. There are a lot of different events and workshops that they plan. So in the next 1 year or so, you can gain multiple perspectives from not only startups in India but abroad. So get in, be part of their programs also. Yeah. So there are a lot of incubators, accelerators, seed angel investors. Obviously, incubators. Obviously, it's great that we are in touch right now. So I'm here to support you. But then there are other incubators near to your location also. You can read about them online and get in touch with them. I think you will get all the information on Startup India website. So I think you just spend 30 minutes on Startup India website, you'll get to know on different support system, ecosystem available for your growth. Right? We initially discussed on certain things on why startups succeed, right? The top 5 reasons, right? So before we end this presentation, let's also keep an eye on a common mistakes that startups make, right? It is good to know, may not be immediately relevant to you, but it is good to know so that, sometimes some informations on our subconscious mind helps us in decision making, right? So the first common mistake, now we discussed everything, right? But startups end up building a solution or a product that nobody wants. And you know why it happens? Because sometimes we focus more, or we are obsessed with the solution that we want a particular person to buy. We try to force sell it rather than building or creating something that they need it. So this is something that can completely be avoided, and this is a major mistake. So can we avoid it? Yes, we can avoid it. How? We have learned how to articulate our idea. We have learned, or we have gained perspective on how business model canvas can help us. Then how should we go about our MVP? It's all about customers, customers, customers. It is more about how are we making our solution relevant and digestible for them. So this is something that we have to always keep in mind. Most of the times we get carried away that I have a fantastic, unique, different idea. Great, we should derive confidence and inspiration, but at the same time we have to do reality check. That is also important. Then second is hiring poorly, or in a way here getting the team right is very important. Okay, getting people, obviously it's a challenge which obviously we can cover in other sessions, but it's good to know. And third is lack of focus. We discussed the gym example. We discussed to find our why and focus on the impact. Now keeping this point in mind so that we do not lose focus, right? Fail to execute sales and marketing. That's fair. Sometimes we do not pitch correctly, or we do not put across our message strongly. That could be, but that can be avoided. Not having the right co-founders. Okay, let me quickly touch upon this also. It's not always true, and I'm sorry, I have to be honest with you, right? It's not always true that two friends can become two good co-founders. It may not always be true, right? Because what happens is we do not want to hurt the other person, we do not want to communicate correctly, and we then end up not coordinating. Okay, if you know a friend who is, or someone, an acquaintance who and they are equally passionate about the idea, great. If they are not, then we have to find people who with the right mindset, who are passionate of solving the idea. Okay, so we have to be aware of that. Then chasing investors and not customers, right? It's common mistake. Everyone talks about funding. In the first slide itself, we learned that funding is not the main reason of startup success. So something that we have to always keep in mind is it's always the customers. We have to surrender in a context. I'm saying what here by surrender means is that surrender with how they see the problem and how they want the problem to be solved. So please keep that in mind. That is really going to save a lot of time. Okay. Then the money part, then not planning the budget, spending too much money. And ninth point is failing to ask for help. Now remember, this is a very common mistake. Now if you don't know something, go ahead and ask for help. It's okay to go and ask for help, even if with a person whom you are not comfortable with. Go and ask for help. It's important. And then ignoring social media, right? Now it could mean multiple. Social media could be how you are projecting your story honestly. Then how are you leveraging social media to put across your message? Now that is important at the initial stage, because that is the convenient, easiest, and still now relevant, and in a way cost effective way of connecting with your first circle of trust, right? So can these mistakes be avoided? Yes, these mistakes can be avoided. We have to always revisit, relook, and keep this into our mind. Right? So, yeah. So just final points. I think we have discussed certain models, but something that we have to always think about is we have to focus more on collaboration over competition, right? We have to see reaction is, be it in business or personal life. If things don't go our way, we choose to react, but we have to respond. Respond is a well thought action. It is a action with a thoughtful intent. So that we have to keep in mind. Then we have to start separating problem versus people, right? People can never be if things don't go right, it's very easy to blame a person, right? If your solution is not being served, then we cannot blame customers saying that that person there's a problem with people, not there's no problem with my solution. You cannot say that. Our solution has to be digestible, right? Then we have to focus on team playing versus individual mindset. That is important. We have to listen to everyone perspective. Most of the times it is more about my point of view. It's great, but as you move ahead, grow professionally, well, you have to gain and accept different perspectives. That is really going to make you a good leader. And then most of the times, as I pointed out, that we don't have to be self-obsessed. At this age and stage and phase in our life, it is sometimes we get carried away and become self-obsessed with our idea, our creativity, our thought process. Great, but we have to be inclusive. We have to think long term and see whether whatever action that I'm going to take, what is the impact it is going to create on the customers. And then we have to think, we have to choose long term over short term, right? But the point is, every 3 months or every the short goals you achieve consistently, it is actually going to serve your long term career plan or business plan, right? So on that note, thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this session, because certain things can actually shape up if you take it in the right perspective, because whatever I have shared are not only my life learnings, but I've actually tried to fine tune and make it tailor made through learnings from the successes and failures of other startups that I have seen in the last 8-9 years. So this is just an effort to save your time. So yeah, thank you everyone. Yeah, I'm open to questions. Happy to take those.
Yes, sir.
Now the floor is open for your questions. You may either raise your hands or type your questions in the chat box.
I think there are a few questions already on the chat box. So
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saurabh, then you can pick up one question at a time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So starting with the one of our participants has asked that what is the difference between the solopreneur and entrepreneur?
Okay. So trust me, these are the terms that are being used in media, and these are the terms that we get to know. We read a lot of articles and we say, okay, when we Google the word solopreneur, a particular definition comes in. But trust me, there is no difference. It's one and the same. Yes, in a particular context, if you are someone who would be you would be managing the show yourself, and you are managing a business yourself, you are the face of the company, you are delivering a solution. Yeah, that way you can be called solopreneur. But on a wider scale, if we talk about building organizations, building companies, creating impact, then it is entrepreneur. And see, entrepreneur is someone who understands, identifies a demand supply gap, and then solves for it, right? Someone who is selling, say for example, okay, someone who is in the business of selling vegetables and fruits, right? That person goes to the market. I'm just giving an example. Okay, goes to the market, gets the fruits and vegetables, sells it, goes back home. Yes, he is also an entrepreneur. Okay, but in a particular context, we can call it solopreneur. If there is someone who designs something, creates it, delivers it, designs softwares alone, independently, they delivers it, then that person is also called a solopreneur. Okay, yeah. Next question.
Yes, sir. So the next question, just a second. Yeah. So, so the next question is, could you please explain how we can connect and maintain the relation with people from different backgrounds? So this question is asked by Mihir Pari.
Yes. So yes, everything that we start, there's always a some, till the time we get our pitch right, it's always a struggle. I think it's a common struggle in everything that we do. Something, even if we learn a new skill in the beginning, it is, it takes some time, right? But to answer this, Mihir, first you have to understand your own strength. You have to articulate and put yourself across in the honest and ethical way on what you are doing right now. As a, say, if you are a student or if you're doing something of your own, you have to write that story for yourself on LinkedIn, right? Then I'm just giving one example. Okay, I can share I can share one more. But once you write down, say you're studying, that this is what you have done as a project, then you have to first be mindful about the kind of people you would want to get in touch with. You can just keep on adding people on, like just like how we do on Facebook, or just we can't do that, right? You have to first be very clear on the kind of people that you would want to get in touch with, right? And it's not about just maintaining relation. It is more about what is it that you would want to learn from that person, right? Then you can write up a note or write up a message on LinkedIn saying that, that I'm really curious to learn certain aspects from you. And that's how you start building. Because obviously, see, we are, in a way, you guys are now studying, you're pursuing, right? You have to, if you want to, say, connect with someone, or say a brand manager from a particular company, then you'll have to ask them certain questions related that you would want to learn from them. And that's how you start establishing relation, right? Maintaining comes at a very later stage. That's one thing. The other thing is that there are a lot of, as I mentioned, tech stars, seed stars, push stars. There are a lot of events, and there are a lot of WhatsApp groups that these community organizations maintain, right? So you can join them, learn about what is it that they are doing, and then be honest and upfront about the reason why you would want to connect with that person, right? If you want to connect to that person and just talk anything, then I think that is not going to help you. You have to keep it very agenda specific, right? That's something that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, go ahead.
So the next question is asked by Gaurav. Can you elaborate on team execution in detail? How to choose a perfect team?
See, there is nothing called as perfect team, right? All of us, the beauty of human life is that we all are imperfect in a particular way, right? So something, these things cannot be structured, right? What you have to choose, as I think I've repeated it also, and good that Gaurav, you asked this question also, is that we have to find people who are aligned with the solution that you are wanting to solve. That is very important. Who believe in what you believe in. Okay, when you play a particular sport, right, there are people who like to play cricket, there are people who like to play football, right? Then someone will score a century that day, someone will not perform well, but then they believe in a particular sport, and that's why they are connected, right? Even if you play online games, I'm just giving up a context, right? That is very important. Now, if you have to, obviously you are the one who is wanting, who is building a team, who wants someone to join you to solve a particular problem. Then in that way, first, as I mentioned, you have to solve solve to know your strengths, and then you have to keep discussing, saying that, what, this is something that I'm building, what do you think, what are your interest levels? That is what you have to sense check. And this will only happen once you interact with a few people at this stage who you trust, or who you feel can be part of your journey, or part of the solution that you are building, right? That is how you make things aligned. Okay, that is how you do at this level. So you have to be open. I'm sure all of us would have at least 5-6 people who we know are good to support your idea. And see, you cannot keep any person motivated. See, everyone has their own aspirations. Everyone has their own way of looking at life, things, and everyone wants to achieve their goals, right? And it may also happen that someone will come and work for you for 2-3 months, and then maybe later be motivated for some other cause, and then that place you can't fight and spoil your relation, right? I'm just giving a very practical perspective. Then you'll have to again go back and scout for someone who is equally passionate, and it is a process, and it goes on and on. But to answer in one line, good that you asked this question. It's very simple, is that you have to always keep interacting and be honest with the solution that you are building. Then you will find people who would solve it and bring in their perspective to build this. That's how we make it relatable. We make our product and service relatable to our potential customers.
Yes, sir. So one more question he has asked, that what are the things and investors look before investing into it?
Okay, very good question. See, a lot of us would be at the ideation stage, right? So at this stage, what do you have right now? Okay, now if this question a Zomato founder asks or a Paytm founder asks, they will, for them it will be more about projections, the customers that they have right now, the impact that they have, or the app downloads they have. This is the question investors will ask them. But what if you are, for you, who would be the investor, right? It could be friends, family, or first circle of trust, right? So what they would look at you would be, what, how passionate are you about the idea. Now passionate is not about showing just the energy levels. It also means that what research you have done to solve a particular problem. That's number one. Okay, number two, what efforts you have taken to build your MVP, minimum viable product, as we discussed, right? What is the core solution? What is it that they're doing? Third, they would also see, what has been not your academic background. It's not to do with the percentage or the marks that you have gained, but what is it that you have done in the last few years, which which makes you entrepreneurial, which shows that you're a good entrepreneur. Because something that they would want to see, like what all you have done. Have you helped a particular business? Have you helped your friends and family with some suggestions, inputs? I'm just giving a perspective, right? See, at this stage, if any investor comes in, they will come in for the character that you are, for the person that you are, right? So it is important to just be honest and upfront, because this is the stage where you would need investor more than I mean, in a way you would be needing that support, right? So it is your own mindset, your own approach, that is something that investors will look at, because this is the stage where, even as SIBA, we incubate startups. So this is something that is very common for us also. So we try to gauge it through understanding their life experiences and how eager they are to solve that problem, and genuinely, not just with the pitch or asking questions here and there. Just be upfront, honest, and the research that you have done to build this, that is something that is very critical. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the next statement is by Mihir Shah. People say that for a perfect startup, we have to take a unique actions, which no one is doing. How to increase our assurance in our unique step or idea for a startup, and what are the factors that we should keep in mind during that?
See, I understand the question around assurance, right? And it's like, see, a startup, see, no one assures a particular country will win a World Cup, be it FIFA or cricket, correct? No one assures a success or of anything, right? It is the consistent actions and the actions that you take to follow a process that determines the uniqueness, or the that increases the ability of a particular solution to go into customer's mind. Remember that that is something. Actions doesn't necessarily have to be unique, it has to be consistent. That is very, very important. And the biggest assurance that will come is not from a mentor or someone who is who obviously they will assure you and they might give you their perspective, but the real assurance will come from the potential customer, because they are the ones who are going to pay. Okay, so that is very important. So the very important factor that you have to keep in mind is that at whatever stage you are, be it in the ideation stage or at a stage where you have built a particular product or service, you know how 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 you are taking consistent efforts to even listen to your customers, to gain perspective from him, that okay, what is it that will make him continue to use a product and service, that is going to make your product perfect, right? Any product or service today, even Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are not perfect. When we discuss, we will want them to, काश ये फीचर होता, काश फेसबुक में ये होता, काश व्हाट्सएप ये ऐड कर सकता, करेक्ट? and obviously they have been listening to us, and that's how they are shifting their gears and fine tuning their product and services accordingly. So always remember, it is the customer's shoes that we have to wear, whatever we do. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The next question is by Kaushal. For starting any startup, we need money as a capital. But as of now, student while pursuing degree, what are the ways which will give a decent amount?
See, even gaining education, right? Even for gaining education, there is a support system, be it your parents, bank loans, or brothers and sisters. They are facilitating capital so that, and not only you, everyone, right? Everyone on this planet, correct? Who is privileged enough to gain education, right? Is gaining capital from their immediate support system so that you have a fantastic future. Correct? Similarly, a startup is no different from this particular example. At this stage, if you cannot force your parents to put in money, you can share your research, and you have to be honest, and you have to share with your friends and family, and say that, okay, this is what something that I am building. I believe that this could work. So they are the ones who are initially going to help you. Then yes, there are certain schemes available by government, there are certain grants that are available, but again, beneficiaries are many. Let's be very practical. India is a population of 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion, correct? Oh, capital hamesha limited hoga. And I have seen a lot of students, and I'm telling you, to build their startup, they take projects on Fiverr, or they are working somewhere so that they can, they can fund themselves. So if you are really passionate, you will see this as a you will try to solve for this solution, right? Now, but again, as I mentioned in the first slide itself, let's focus on building our solution first. And वो जो initial 5, 10, 15,000 जो भी खर्चा होता है, ये हमें खुद से ही manage करना है. And I think if you are yourself accountable from day one, right? See, if we want others to put money, but then we would want, why would the other person put in money if you have not put in money yourself? This is something that they will ask you, correct? So we have to invest in ourselves, and this is no different. So let's be very honest and practical here. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The next question is by Yagnesh. He has asked that how does a startup reach to a share market level?
Good question, Yagnesh. Good that you are aiming for IPO. We have seen recently Zomato and Paytm, have their IPO, but there is a journey that is there. It's not like, मैंने आज company start किया and मेरा IPO launch हो जाएगा. It doesn't work like that. There are a lot of compliances, a lot of they have to achieve a particular target. They have to be a private limited company, and then obviously to launch an IPO, they have to become public limited. But there is an entire journey. So at this stage, good that you have this question. You're curious to know, but Yagnesh, I would really want you to save your time by just asking you to focus on the solution that you want to build. When you will come at a stage where you have good set of customers, you will be working closely with chartered accountants, lawyers, company secretaries, and I'm sure they are going to help you reach that stage. Should not be a big challenge, but something that we need to focus right now is on your ideation. Okay. Yeah.
The next question is by Gaurav. How to determine a relevant amount of fund that is required for any startup? How do we come to know the exact amount of money we require for a fund for our business?
See, there is no exact amount. This is not a fees, right? Investing money in startup is not like a fees or a product that you're going to buy. Okay, so there is no particular parameter, but something that what we can do in our backend is that, okay, at a stage you would want to do a research, so you have to do a budgeting, right? What is the most optimal way to, so there are say 5 or 6 cost structures that you would have at this stage. what we have to do is, okay, इससे better मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ या efficient कैसे हो सकता है. Fortunately, there's a very common word that is also in fact used in the Indian startup ecosystem is the word jugaad, right? Now the point I'm trying to make here is that can we try to reduce our expenses wherever we can, right? That is something that we have to keep in mind. There is no set criteria, but yes, what we can do is we can assign a particular budget कि अच्छा मुझे research करना है तो मैं इसके ऊपर मेरा budget जाना नहीं चाहिए, या फिर I have to find a solution in this budget, right? You have to do a budgeting, and I think budgeting should be done at a stage once you have done your ideation, once you know that you have built a particular solution. Then what happens is there is a fund that you would be raising for an ideation stage that is called, say, prototype fund, where you are actually prototyping and building it, right? Primarily a good stage to determine the fund that you need is at a growth stage, which means that you have a set of customers that are ready to work, that are working with you, and then you need growth capital so that you reach out to more customers. Now that comes at a later stage. But to answer your question, please articulate your cost structure as mentioned in the business canvas model that we have discussed.
Yes, sir. Another question by him is how to pitch your business plan properly. What are the things an investors look for while going through a pitch deck? How to determine the values that we would put in our pitch deck for an investor?
Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to share a presentation with Sandeep sir, and I'll request Sandeep sir to share it with the students. I think that pitch deck is has a perfect storyline on how to articulate on which slide what answer is required. So I will share that. I think that is a good beginning, for you to refer that. So I will do that.
Yes, and another question is by Disha. From where we can acquire funds from investor? I mean, there is some platform, or do we have to directly contact the investor?
See, you have to be mindful on the time when you will be interacting with investors. Okay. See, remember one thing, right? Today, see, we all are students. We are still in the stage where we are growing. We are getting we're following a particular curriculum. We are enhancing our perspectives, let me put it in that way, right? So at this stage, obviously, because see, I have also been a student, right? So I understand question around money, because at this stage we do not have any money of our own. Our investors are at this stage who are investing in our education, food, clothing, and other aspects are our parents and brothers, sisters, right? So this question is very, very logical in that context, correct? But let's detach from that aspect and let's thrive to reach a stage where our solution from a design level is so apt that if we share a presentation to investor, they say that, you know what, you are solving a genuine problem. Let's discuss and see how we can explore. Now, for that, we have discussed certain things, correct? See, it's like you got, say, 90%, you got whatever marks that you got, and then you show that to a particular institute or a particular sphere, and then you try to say that, okay, what, I have done this, now let's discuss on how can I go ahead. It goes here also. Make yourself reach to a point where you actually build an MVP, and that is the time you should interact with them, because they are not, for them, they get hundreds of ideas every day, right? Do we want to be an idea that goes into their spam folder? No, right? Once we are at a stage where we have created a solution, at least a solution in which customer is even ready to pay 10 rupees, if not big amount. I'm just saying that to a context to understand that that is the time where we have to reach out to investor. See, you would want to go to an investor where you have to be in the driver's seat, right? Saying that if you do not invest money in my startup, you are going to lose money. That is a mindset that we have to start developing. We do not have to be in a stage where we need it. We have to start at a stage where they will lose out it. So this is a perspective that we should carry from this stage itself, right?
Yes, and one more question by Mihir is how to create a balance between studies and starting your own startup.
Yes, a very good question. It is the same balance that you create to watch your favorite show on Netflix and Amazon Prime. Correct? We create that balance. We want something, we create time. Correct? So my point is very simple. There is nothing that is not possible. Okay, you have to devote 2 hours of your time. You know that okay, this is see us planning a startup is managing and developing your own baby, right? So you have to give time to nurture that. So that is, it's very simple. If you have sincerity in your mind and sincerity in your heart, I'm sure nothing can stop you to build a startup. It applies, the same principle applies if you have taken up a target to travel to any part of India or go to the gym, as I mentioned, right? You would take that effort. You have to burn the midnight oil. It will not happen like that. But at the same time, we have to take care of our health, because health है तो सब कुछ है. Let's be very clear. You can't say that मैंने आज इतना प्रोजेक्ट सबमिशन किया, मेरा एग्जाम था एंड फिर मेरे को टाइम नहीं मिला. ऐसा नहीं. You have to be sincere with yourself. So that's the answer. There's no rocket science there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. These were all the questions from the participants. I would like to thank you for addressing us all. We show immense gratitude for taking out your precious time from your schedule to impart valuable information about your product market and product solution fit. We also thank you for giving us an insight on how to implement it in our entrepreneurial journey. We look forward to follow your path of success. Now I request Mr. Sandeep sir to say a few words about the session. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Saurabh, and thank you very much, Sagar sir. You have addressed all the questions of our students in very systematic way, and very insightful talk, sir. Covered all the points of our expected topic, then way to solve the problems, then a unique perspective to pick up the problems and their solution. Means start from scratch to finished product or service, or maybe or any kind of facility. So you have explained it very well. Also that particular points convert the own strengths into an opportunity. That is also well. Also, sir, I request you to put that link about Strength Finder in our chat section. Yeah. Yes, and the concept of lean canvas model and MVP, that is very relevant and realistic examples you have given, sir. That is Uber, Practo, and YouTube. So mostly you have covered all the factors in success as well as some common mistakes also. So I really appreciate student heads of our IIC, Hemani and Mihir, and entire IIC cell member, and really grateful for support from principal madam as well to channelized overall flow of an event. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep sir, for having me. It's always a pleasure to interact with sharp minds and share certain mistakes that can be avoided and to save their time. Ultimately, the goal is to save. I think it's the best thing that can be done. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Saurabh, anything is there now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we like to present a small token of appreciation from our side that you paid us such a valuable time for us, and will definitely follow this path towards our success. Thank you to our principal ma'am and faculty for gracing the session with their presence. Finally, I would like to thank our audience for being an active part of the session. IIC BNCP will continue to bring such exciting events in the upcoming academic year. We hope you had a good time. Stay indoors and keep thinking out of the box.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.